What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Tomorrow, and today I have a gear review on the Venum Giant 2.0 Pro Boxing Gloves. All right, folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today we are in day 11 of the VENATHON. So we got this video and one more tomorrow, and I saved the best for last, as we are going to finish off the last two pairs of pro boxing gloves that Venum produces that I haven't reviewed yet. Today, we're going to review the Venum Giant 2.0 Pro Boxing Gloves. And guys, I'm super excited about these because when I reviewed the Venum Hammer like 6 years ago, you guys really wanted me to review the other two pro boxing gloves. At the time, I just wasn't making the money that I'm kind of making now, and still, glove collecting is really expensive. So it took me a while to go ahead and get these. But the Venum Hammer, if you remember, I got the Lomachenko model. These are Venum's Pro Puncher's gloves. They still were pretty protective, and they were one of my favorite gloves for a while, and they're still up there in probably my top 15, if not top 10 still. Absolutely love these gloves, and I was so shocked that Venum, which is a brand that really doesn't get a whole ton of love from the boxing glove community, especially in boxing, pulled those off really well. Now, do the other gloves pull them off just as well? I'll talk about that more in the next two reviews, of course. But the fact that guys like Vasily Lomachenko, got paid out to, use Venum. Guys like Mike Tyson actually trained in these as well, and he boxed in these against Jake Paul, and I think he's going to do it. I don't think he's boxing Floyd Mayweather anymore. I think something crazy is happening with Floyd Mayweather now, but he trains in those. And then also you have guys like Ilya Topuria that trained in these before he had his deal with Venum and stuff. So it's really cool that they have a lot of high-name guys using the Venum Giants. I believe Jorge Linares also trained in these, which was pretty cool. But in general, a really popular glove amongst especially the MMA crowd. It's still not as big in boxing as you would like to see. I do think they make some pretty good stuff. I'm excited about this. Now, the next question that I've been asked a bunch is, these are the Venum Giant 2.0, but they're more expensive than their pro boxing lineup. But one of the most weird things is they have a Venum Giant 3.0. Now, funny enough, I mentioned maybe in my last video a bonus 3.0 or a bonus 13th episode of the VENATHON, and that would be about the 3.0 here. I've had these for years. These are about 8, if not 9 years old. I got them when I was a sophomore or a junior in college. Really love these gloves. They're awesome. They're definitely review ready. I would just need to do other video footage of it. But the question that I've got is, if these are the 3.0 and they're $100 less and they're not part of the pro boxing lineup, why are they 3.0 and these are 2.0? To be honest with you, that's why I don't always name things like that in boxing. I think it just kind of muddies the water a bit. But let me tell you the differences of the gloves. First and foremost, obviously, these are 18, these are 16, but you can see, even though these are 18s, most of the other 16-ounce versions of these gloves I've seen are more wide than these here. On top of it, the Venum Giant 3.0 is more or less kind of designed to be like a tie glove than this is to be a boxing glove. That's probably why it's a 2.0, because they took some things away from this, but made it a bit more higher quality. They're both made out of Napa leather, but this is made out of an Argentinian tan Napa leather, and Argentina does have very good leather working. It's one of the things that that country is well known for. But when it comes to this too, you can see that the thumb is more curved like a boxing glove, where this is more curved like a tie glove on the inside so it can catch kicks. You also have a lot of excess padding here on the actual palm itself to really protect you from kicks and stuff like that. The interior lining also has that leather at the base here. This one does not. This is more padded as well. This is your standard 3-layered tie foam that you have on the inside of this glove. This is padded specifically for boxing with 4 layers of foam that are a bit more expensive and work just a little bit better than these do. These are still a great glove, but they're cheaper for a reason, and that's basically why. The difference is basically the padding composition, the shape of the glove, and the overall construction and design of the glove itself. But with that out of the way, let's go into the actual model glove that I have for you today, talk about the different options that you can get. First and foremost, I got these in the 18-ounce weight. I got them in the gold and black colorway because that for me is the best colorway that Venum pulls off. And I also got them in the hook and loop closure. You can get them, since they're a pro boxing glove, in lace-ups as well, just like I did with the Venum hammer, as you see here. But in this case, I went with the hook and loop closure. I got them in 18 ounces because that was what was available. These gloves do go very quickly out of stock for whatever reason. I mean, it probably means that they're pretty good, but they're definitely not making these in as big as quantities as, say, the 3.0 or as the Elites and stuff like that. These are definitely flying off the shelves very quickly. So I got them in the 18 ounces along with the shield, which will be in 18 ounces. I got them in the hook and loop closure just for ease of convenience. And you can get them in 3 different colors. You can get them in red and black, gold and black, and white and black. As you can see here, I got the gold and black. And again, for your reference throughout the entirety of the video, I got the, oh, I forgot to go over the weights, my fault. In the weight category, you can get them in a couple different sizes. You can go from 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16, and 18 ounces. Now, the thing about the 8 and 10 ounces, as it shows on the website, I think they also have an 8 and 10 ounce XL in some of the models, but it does say the 8 and 10 ounces share the same padding as the Fight Glove version. So if you get these 12 through 18, it's more of a training glove version of the padding. 8 and 10 is more of the Fight Glove version, and they do recommend on the website that you get the lace-up version if you're trying to get your hands used to that. Sorry, I almost missed that out. But with that said, again, for your exact reference, I got the 18-ounce black and gold colorway with the hook and loop closure. Going into the actual look of the glove, you can see here, for me, that's my favorite design out of all the pro ones. I really like the Lomachenko version, but the Venum hammers usually just have the Venum going down the middle. Same thing for the shield on the other side. This is the big snake, and that's what everyone loves about Venum, is this snake design here. As you can see, the entirety of the glove is basically that black and gold colorway, especially the palm. It splits down the middle, but the entire base of the glove on the back is that black colorway. But you got that big gold snake with the eyebrows raised, and you also got the eye holes there, which is the base of the glove itself. The front fangs and then the side jaw or the fangs itself. You also got the breathe holes there. Overall, it's a really cool looking snake design. It's why a lot of people love Venum, because they always look outstanding when it comes to their designs. We come over to the front of the glove. You got more of that really nice reflective midnight black, but you also have that Venum right there, which is in that gold. And it's not actually textured on the leather itself. It's more screen printed or sublimated into the leather itself. We come over here to the thumb. You can see here we also have that sublimated feel here on the gold Venum that's on the thumb here. You also have that nice black coloration that's going throughout there as well, which feels really good. Sorry, the leather feels good, but it looks really good on the back of the glove itself. You also have a really nice black thumb attachment there. It's just your standard tab attachment. We open the glove up, and that's where, for me, it really shows its luxury. A lot of pro boxing gloves have that two-tone color. Always looks really nice when they do that. You can see some of the breathe holes we have towards the top, the black stitching throughout the entirety of it, but the right side of the glove is that for you, it would be the, is that how that would work? It's right for me, so it might be left for you, sorry. But it is a gold lining here all the way from the top to the bottom, and you can see here we got the nice Venum logo there, the snake. We come down here, you got more of that black on this side, and then you have a stamp that basically says genuine leather right there, telling you that it is authentic leather, and that's what all their gloves that have real leather says. It's the same thing on the Venum Giant right there, 3.0, just to show you. But that's basically what you got going on here, is that logo right there. It says leather. The piping itself is gold on the wrist strap, and as you can see here, the wrist patch here is made out of rubber, and it says Venum with some stars up there, and it says Venum Pro Boxing because this is part of the Pro Boxing lineup. It's actually a very soft rubber, and it doesn't have sharp corners at all that pop off the glove, and it does keep you nice and protective. And then here you can see it says 18 ounces, just to kind of prove to you again that I got them in 18 ounces, and you can see all the natural grains going throughout the leather here too. When we turn it over and open it up, you can see here that the Velcro itself is black with that really nice gold piping that really makes the glove pop out. And then you have the Velcro piece back here, which is also black with that gold piping at the bottom as well. We open the glove up wide. You can see here that we got the black interior lining, and you can also see we have a tag that tells you that it is a Venum product, and it also says it is 18 ounces as well, if you can read that. So that's really good. It looks really nice. I always love that Venum puts a lot of detail into their overall designs. It looks really solid. Now, when we go into the actual build of the glove, we can talk about the outer shell being made out of what is called on their website Argentinian Napa leather. Now, Napa leather, I'll just make it as simple as I can to explain it. Napa leather is what you see in a lot of good luxury cars or just cars in general. Napa leather is very soft, supple, and it's breathable because you want a leather like that to last a while. It's breathable so the padding on the inside of a car seat can last a lot longer too, so that doesn't cave in. And it's also very easy to clean compared to some other leathers. This, in this case, feels like a very good full grain cowhide leather compared to the other leather of the 3.0s, because you can see all those natural grain marks there, and you can see where all the natural imperfections are with the glove itself. The nice thing about Napa leather is that though it is full grain, it's very uniform, and the way that they aerate and tan the leather and brush it out looks really good, and it makes it very soft. And it's also, just like this glove, a much sweeter smelling leather as well. It's super soft and supple compared to a lot of other gloves because of the way it was tanned. And obviously most gloves that use any type of leather uses what's called a chromium salt tanning to make it shine really well. And you can almost smell that, but still, that Napa leather that you get in all of Venum's gloves, super soft leather. It feels really nice on the back of the hand, and it breaks in very easily, and it also allows what's on the inside to breathe very well. You have that leather all throughout the glove. Even the piping itself on the wrist strap, on the interior thumb piping is very, very soft Napa leather as well. Overall, it feels really good in the back of the hand, and it's a very high quality leather. And although the Giant 3.0 feels very similar, I'd say even this kind of has more of a grippy texture. This is more of a smooth, soft, silky leather texture. When we talk about the padding of the glove, this is where the gloves really change as far as the overall design goes. Obviously, with the shield, the hammer, and the Venum Giant 2.0, they have different curvatures and stuff like that, but this glove has different padding as well. I'd say it's more like the medium soft design here. So it gives you, again, the best of both worlds. It protects your hands, but it also lets your knuckles sink in. As you can see here, it's going to pop out like that too. So it has that nice natural latex on the inside. But on the website, it says that it's made out of 4 sheets of foam. It has 2 layers of polyethylene foam, which is that high density open cell foam that I talk about. You know, some people call it Japanese foam, whatever it is. Think more like your mattress foams. It's to stop and cradle your knuckles and stop impact from really damaging your knuckles. EVA foam is a bit more of a stiffer foam that keeps the glove shape, and it also protects the knuckles a bit more, and it sandwiches over the knuckles. That way it kind of stops impact from getting directly on top of it. So the EVA is usually the base layer that you see. Then it says it has a rubber sheet to maximize impact absorption and to stop shock. What that rubber sheet is, if I were to guess, is latex. And why? Latex derives from the rubber tree, and that's why I'm thinking it is a latex foam, and also the way it snaps out like that. But you can actually hear from the other 2 layers of the polyethylene foam the air breathe out. And that basically means that open cell foam is doing its job. Open cell foam has open cells that allow it to breathe in and breathe out so it can constantly retain its shape. Closed cell foams, it's stiffer foams that does not breathe in or out, and it stays in one shape at all times. You use those for bag gloves because that is a stiffer foam you're not going to hit people with, so the foam will last a lot longer. Whereas this case, it's still going to last a good long time, but it's safer to hit people with. And like I said, it's in that medium soft, if not, we're wearing more on the soft feel of the actual padding scale. And for me, whenever I hit the bag, I can definitely feel my knuckles go right into that padding, and I can feel it bounce right off the bag, and it feels really good. When I spar, I can feel I'm making solid contact on like a chin or the corner of the face or the ribs, but I also feel myself getting really cradled with that. So overall, it's very protective padding, and it's those 4 rubber sheets, sorry, not rubber sheets, it's those 4 sheets of padding that are going up here that makes a 4-layer shock absorbing mold foam padding. It's not the thickest padding compared to, say, the shield, which is much more rounded. This is a more rounded top with a flat puncher surface, which is interesting. So this glove also kind of puts you in that position up here to keep your fist closed like this at all times. So it puts you in a nice natural fist position with that padding as well. Now, when we come over to the thumb here, one of Venum's first things that I've noticed in this VENATHON is that this is a split thumb. So basically they split the thumb here. Either they're putting a different type of leather here, or it's so you can have more freedom of the thumb here. They usually attach the thumb separate from the actual knuckle padding. The reason why they do that is so you can have more freedom and mobility with your thumb. As you can see here, you have a bit of a fatter thumb that curves right behind the knuckle, so when you close your fist, it tucks right behind there, so you're never going to have to worry about really smashing your thumb on the inside of this glove. I know I've never done that in this glove anyway, and that's basically what you have going on here. And again, just looking at it, you can see all the natural grain marks just going throughout the gold too, which I really appreciate. I really love good made leather, and Venum did a good job with this. But you got that with the thumb there, and that thumb has the same types of foam sheets that's going on in here. I can feel the EVA foam at the base, I can feel the rubber sheet in here, and I can feel that polyethylene really soft and protect the thumb. It's actually pretty padded towards the tip here, so if I smash it on the inside there, it's nice and padded too, just in case. You know, Venum wants to make sure you're covered everywhere, so even if you did it this way, it's good. Even if you did your casting punches, right, in MMA, you're going for a double leg or something, you know, or a single leg, and you're trying to trail through, it really protects that corner of your thumb. It really protects your thumb in general, which is great. When we talk about the wrist support, that's when we have this nice piece of padding down here, and what that does is it really stabilizes the base of your wrist, because as you can see here, you have two separate parts like a lot of other gloves Venum does. You have the base, and then you have the actual foam mold for the padding itself. So this kind of bridges that gap, and it actually sits over top of your wrist, so it protects the base of your wrist and keeps you in a nice fist position as well. When we open the wrist strap up, you can see that it's tied to the inside of the palm, which some people don't like, but I think it works really well for this glove because it ties everything in really tight together. Unlike some other beginner gloves, they don't have like a rubber patch to kind of keep it all together either, because it does a good enough job doing that by itself because of the weight of the leather and how it feels. There's no really big padding on the inside of this like the Venum Giant 3.0 that I showed you. Just your basic, you know, EVA foams that go through here, and that's just kind of to counterbalance the weight and hug your wrist and your forearms just a little bit more. It doesn't really take a whole lot of punishment off of the glove itself. But the rest of the palm, you have very slight padding that goes up through here. Up here, it's a very soft leather, but that's about it. And then the grip bar, when I pull that up high, you can see is super soft actually compared to the rest of the glove. You also have some breathe holes up towards the top and bottom to allow the glove to breathe a bit. And you also have some on the inside of your thumb too that you can hardly see because of the black color. But overall, it is a very nice looking glove. It's a very nice performing glove as far as the actual wrist support goes, the palm goes, and the wrist goes. You do have some stiffer foam on the back here to keep it nice and supported, and you also have another piece of foam at the base here to keep your wrist in a nice locked position. The interior lining really kind of feels like a basic nylon. That's the one thing I think the glove cheaped out a little bit with. It is moisture wicking compared to a lot of other Venum's linings, but for me, it's a pretty nice nylon lining, and it's not too baggy either. Your hand slides right in, and there's tons of room if you want to wear a big fat training wrap for boxers, so that's definitely something to look into and consider. And when you strap it on tight, it stays on. It doesn't go anywhere. Like, I'm really trying to take it off here, and it slips off eventually, but imagine having a wrap on it. It's not gonna do that at all. And on top of it, the way that your fingers slot in perfectly, it just feels like your fingers are hooked to the top of the glove here. The only thing that's weird is like this pops out a bit for the hook and loop closure. That happens a lot, so maybe that rubberized patch would have kind of helped it stay here. But besides that, it really doesn't do much else to really slip off the hand. You're in a nice natural fist position at all times, so when I line up my punch, I'm right there. Yeah, you can see that really pops out there. But again, I've never noticed that really changed the function of the glove at all, especially if the hand wraps on. But when you're here and you make solid contact, I feel all of that really good. The only thing is that although the thumb piping is soft, it is a little bit tight once you put your thumb all the way in, and you do feel some excess pressure when you make like an uppercut or a hook on your thumb on the inside, not on the outside at all, which is always good. The wrist support, you got that piece of foam right here that's really protecting the base of your wrist, and it feels absolutely awesome. And that wrist strap keeps it tight to your arm. It is a bigger glove as far as kind of eating your forearm, so if you don't like a bigger glove like that, it may not be for you. And it is very top heavy. Although it's pretty balanced at first, you can see here that most of the weight is towards the top. I imagine if you got the lace-up version, it would be much more balanced, but for the hook and loop, it is a bit more top-heavy. I've never had my wrist snap in these either, because you can see, because of that nice wrist bar and the nice natural fist fist position, even when I do this, it doesn't really curve my wrist down over too much. My knuckles are still lining up like right there. So I don't feel any excess pressure. On top of it, really padded on the back of the arm, the back of the wrist, everything about it's nice. It's definitely more padded towards the top than it is the bottom. Some gloves will like to kind of distribute the padding evenly. In this case, it's very top heavy as far as that goes. Nice natural punch position, but if you're doing this for MMA or Muay Thai, it does not open up for a clinch that great at all. If I hooked it here, it'd be good, but opening it, that's about as much as you get. So if you like to parry and catch punches in boxing, may not be the best option for you. Definitely more of like a forward punching glove to kind of get on the inside and rip punches and stuff like that. Feels really good. Great for body punching, I find. And it's also a very wide punch surface. And it does cover you pretty well too to defend yourself. It's a pretty big glove. But with that said, let's go ahead and go into the bag work, and then we'll come back with my final thoughts.
So when it comes in the heavy bag with the Venum Giant 2.0 Pro Boxing Gloves, I will say they have a lot of great protective qualities, and they are unique in the build and the way that they fit on your hand. I've not really felt a whole lot of gloves that do what this glove does as far as like that front heavy pressure and that big thudding hit style that still cradles your knuckles in a protective way. Now, if you're looking for these more for MMA or Muay Thai, they're not great with clinch because they're very curved down. I think that's a unique part about these gloves compared to a lot of other professional boxing gloves. I can think of like Winning, Grant, stuff like that. They open up really well. These don't so much. But the thumb is locked into a pretty nice position. On top of it, the knuckle protection is pretty solid on these. I would have rather have gotten the lace-up version because it'd probably be a little bit more well-balanced. But I think I see why a lot of people like these. They're really sharp. They're nice and accurate. They give you that nice protective feel. They're very comfortable on the inside. The liner feels really good. Tons of room for hand wraps as well. Everything you need and to give you coverage is in this glove, so it's pretty good on the bags. When it comes to the look of these gloves, I personally love that giant gold serpent that you have on this. Now, when it comes to the beginner gloves, obviously that's what gets a lot of people is the snake design. But I think if you're a pro, it's just an added bonus to have it look so cool. And Venum, again, for me, is the undisputed king of good-looking gloves. In this case, I really like how they look. That black and gold looks really nice. You can see the palms as well with that split black and gold. Overall, it screams a pro-level glove with the type of quality and design that these are made out of.
All right, folks, my final verdict here for the Venum Giant 2.0 boxing gloves is, out of the 3 pro boxing gloves, they are my least favorite, but it does not mean it's a bad glove at all. I think they're very well made. I think they protect your hands very well. They're just awkwardly shaped and kind of force you into a fist position that maybe some pros wouldn't like. Obviously, guys like Mike Tyson have liked that so far, and Ilia Topuria have liked it, but for me, I like mobility in my hand, and that's maybe one drawback I would see about this glove in general. But like I do with every other pair of gloves I ever review, I'm going to talk about the positives about the gloves and what I like about it, maybe some of the things I would change about it, what I don't like about it, and then if they're for you, then we'll go into my final rating overall. So first and foremost, what do I like about the glove? Very well made. I think that's one thing that people will kind of give Venum for. You know, I got so many comments for my Venathon, man, Venum's trash, they're not popular, they're not good, and that more or less came from the boxing crowd. They're very well made. The leather that you get in this glove is just about as good as any other pro boxing leather that you're going to try. I would put them up there with a lot of other leathers that you're going to try from, and yeah, I might get flack for this. It feels like Winning. It feels like Grant. It feels like Reyes. It feels like Rivals. It feels like good quality leather. And for me, I like that it's Napa leather too, because it's going to breathe and it's going to be a little bit softer and let the glove break in a little bit easier too. Napa leather is a very good option for boxing gloves, and I don't know too many brands other than Venum that uses it a lot. Is it the biggest luxury leather on the planet? No, but it also makes a pro boxing glove pretty affordable too. But it's very good full grain leather. If not, it's a very high quality top grain. But for me, I see inconsistencies in the leather itself, which tells me full grain, because full grain means they take it off the animal and they just use it as is. Top grain means they shave the top layer off, that way it's more uniform to use. In this case, it looks uniform, but you can definitely see there are some inconsistencies in the actual leather itself. Most pro gloves use a full grain leather. Good full grain leather will look the same. It's just that simple. And that's usually what you get. If it's top grain, I'm proved wrong, but that's a different point. But Napa leather can be full and top grain. Google it. That's the way I would word it. Knuckle protection is very good. I think the 4-layer of molded foams that you have going on the inside here is really good. The 2 layers of polyethylene really protect your knuckles. That EVA layer keeps it all in a really nice, good shape. And on top of it, that latex layer on the inside, or the rubber layer as it's called, really gives you a nice pop and rebound off the bag. It gives you a nice rewarding feel when you punch the heavy bag too, which is always good. And I absolutely love that. Hitting the pads gives you nice feedback. And sparring in these, it's very safe because of that padding layer that you have going on here. It's definitely more forgiving on the hands and on your training partners compared to the Venum hammers, which use a bit more of a front heavy latex type of punching style. Still protective of the knuckles, but definitely not as protective for your partner. So this is a great option too. Feels really good as far as the overall hand compartment goes. It feels really slick on the back of the hand. The lining is not baggy at all when you're trying to fix your hand on the inside, which is good. And there's tons of room to use an actual boxing training wrap, which is absolutely required if you have a pro boxing glove. So that's the way I would word that. And as far as quality goes and durability, I've had these for over a year and they still look brand new out of the box. And I've actually used these in the Venum shields quite a bit, and they haven't flaked as much. The shields have actually flaked a bit more than these as far as the paint goes. I think this worked really well because it was sublimated right into the leather itself, and it looks really, really good. The wrist strap gives you awesome wrist support. I also love that you have that brace here at the base of the wrist. I would prefer that I got the lace-up version, but I wanted to try the Velcro so badly. So if someone's used the lace-up versions, let me know if you think there's a big difference. For me, I do think the lace-up versions would be just a touch better. Now, when we talk about the drawbacks of the glove, the fist position's weird is the easy way to word that. It doesn't open or close that much, and for a pro glove, it kind of fixes you here and here. It doesn't really let you open out like this. It's just kind of here because of that overly pronounced cup that you have going down here. And that's kind of annoying. I don't really like that. And I think that would be the same in the actual lace-up version too. And I saw Ilya Topuria using the lace-up version of those, and it looked to be the exact same kind of problem. You know, he just kind of stayed here at all times. So again, it is purely for boxing. If you're doing it for MMA or Muay Thai, get a different version. The shield and the hammer open up and clinch a lot better than the Giant 2.0 does, in my opinion. But again, if it's a pro boxing glove, I really can't complain too much about that, is the way I would word it. The one thing I didn't like is when you kind of close this part of the glove just pops out for fun. And I don't really care for that too much because that could mean that it might fly off your hand over time. It never really happened to me, but you never know. You might have someone that's slightly bigger hands, slightly smaller hands, and it might for them. So that's a little bit annoying. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints. I guess maybe for $250, it's a pretty fair price point because you got to think, $250 for these. It operates very similar to like a Cleto Reyes. It operates pretty similar to some of the Hayabusa gloves that you'd get as far as like overall performance goes. Are there gloves for $250 that I think are better or cheaper that are better than these? I think some people would prefer like Top Box or Alien. I think some people would prefer maybe a Layak Warrior. You know, I think about New Sporting, which goes for about that much, $200 to $300, and I like those gloves more. But overall, I think $250 for a pro boxing glove of this caliber is a really fair price. If they sold them for like $220 like Reyes, and even Reyes I think might be $250 now, everything's expensive. You know, some Fairtex gloves I think of, like the BGV9 I think is a really solid comparison to this glove. That would be a tough argument. And those go for about $80 to $100. So yeah, you know, it's kind of in there. I think the price point is pretty fair, but it may be a little bit less expensive, and I could see myself buying them again. But overall, really my big gripes is that they just kind of have this really weird, overly pronounced cup, and I don't know if people would like that so much. And it does dry out very quickly as far as the inner lining goes. It doesn't stay moist too long at all, so there's another positive. So when it comes to the rating of these gloves, it's a tough one because like they're not my favorite pro boxing glove by Venum. And I do think they're a good glove, but I'm going to go ahead and give them a 8 out of 10. And I'm going to put them in the A tier for a great glove. I do think it's a great option for people to try, but I don't think it's the best. I think some people would prefer, and that's the thing about having a middle ground glove like this, it kind of does everything really well. So if you're a puncher, you might not like them. Like I'm a puncher, so I would prefer something like Reyes over these. And for me, if I were a big defensive guy, I would prefer something like a Grant or a Winning compared to these. But what's nice about them is that you have a nice middle ground glove that doesn't cost, you know, it costs less than half than those gloves actually, which is great. than a winning or a grant, stuff like that. And I think they still do a really solid job. I really enjoyed them. Again, I really kind of wish I got the lace-up gloves. I do not often say that, but I prefer I got the lace-ups over these. These still did a great job. They protect your knuckles really well. Great wrist support. Overall, the one gripe I forgot to mention is that the inner thumb piping is a little stiff. But it's not that bad after a while. There's tons of room on the inside for hand wraps for professional boxing training, which is always a good positive plus as well. So in general, I really enjoyed the gloves. They're not my favorite I've ever tried, but they are definitely a great option for me. I've enjoyed using them for the last year, and I think maybe you would too. So, folks, with that said, I hope I answered all your questions about the Venom Giant 2.0. Of course, if I didn't, comment below and let me know what you want to see reviewed next. We only have one day of the Venathon left. I hope you guys have really enjoyed the series. I know I have. In general, I like these gloves. Definitely, they're meant for specific people. They're like that middle ground glove. So if you are looking for something like that that does the best of all worlds, I would look into these, and they might be an S tier for you. For me, 8 out of 10. Great glove. Not the best pro glove I've ever used, but a pretty solid one nonetheless, and impressed that Venom made it. Follow me on all my social media pages. I'm usually pretty active on Instagram. I try and post there every day, whether it be on my story or a new post. And of course, like and subscribe, as it goes a long way to help the channel. And of course, hit the notification bell for the last episode of the Venathon coming tomorrow. As always, folks, thank you so much for choosing your source of combat sports, the Combat Corporation. I've been your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and as always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.